This is not a cartoon for children.
No. This is the Castlevania Blood of Zeus category.
There's a lot of gore, a lot of
cartoons that I
really
thrive
yes,
on.
I love these. I want more.
Hey puppers, welcome to a special Pupcorn Movies as we get excited for The Witcher Season 2.
Yes.
This
Very
is
excited.
The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf.
Which
Animated movie.
Yeah, which I found by chance on Netflix.
Yeah. It's
and
the story of Vesemir.
Yeah, I
He's a
put it on.
character that's big in the books, big in the games. He will make his debut in Season 2. He was nowhere in Season 1 of The Witcher. And just a brief history, I've only played the first game. I'm kind of waiting on like the second and third game. I don't know what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
either.
just kind of like,
I see it and I think about it all the time. I'm like, I should pick that up.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of games right now, but like The Witcher, I don't know if I want to go right into the Wild Hunt because I hear it's the best one, or play Assassin of Kings and see how that one is. So like, I think that's what I'm waiting for. So like, which one do I want to jump into next?
So like, he's played the first game.
Yeah.
I've read some of the books. I haven't read all of them yet, but I have read some of the books. And
this was after I watched the first season.
Yes. Whereas we both have seen the first season, not together, but separately.
Nope.
It's actually how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met.
But anyway, watching Nightmare of the Wolf, it was very interesting. I love that it's animated.
Me too.
I'm all about the animated movies.
Yep.
I think that you can do so much more and have it be almost less cheesy than like CG monsters.
And recently, like either yesterday or today, was like with a journalist, and he stated it's just like the greatest tool of an artist is the pencil.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the first season of The Witcher. I'm so excited for the second season. I can't wait to see like what they do, where they go.
Yeah.
How close is it going to be to the book? Is it going to be closer to the game?
Exactly.
The first season was actually closer to the game than it was to the book.
It did feel a lot similar to the first game.
Whereas, like, in the book, it's...
Except for Yennefer, she's...
Yeah. She's very different.
She shows up later in the game.
She's also very different in the books.
Okay.
But she's way sassier.
Oh.
I love her. She, like, in the books, she is very much not afraid to be like, F you. And just, like, and leave. But in the book, it's a stream timeline.
Okay.
So it's... one event happens after another, whereas in the first season it's it's very much like past, future, present, just all
building to the climax.
And it's a little confusing if you have no previous experience with The Witcher.
Yeah.
It's
I'll be
very,
honest,
very confusing.
I prefer from this point forward if season 2 is just more linear storytelling.
Yeah. Which I'm very curious if that's what they're gonna do, because again,
probably not. But
in the books, it is very much linear because one event happens after another. One thing that he did in the books that I really, really love, you can start anywhere. So you don't necessarily have to start with Blood of Elves. You can start at any of the books, and it makes sense.
The same with the games.
Yeah, it makes sense to start.
If you're a Witcher
anywhere.
fan, let me know if you can just start with any game, and I don't have to really connect the story 1, 2, 3. If I could just go right into a Wild Hunt, because I'm really excited to play Wild Hunt.
Because Ted Dekker does that in a series of books. You can kind of just pick one up, start wherever, and then it makes more of a circle rather than a beginning and an end.
All right.
So it ends where it starts where it ends.
So that's the series. Yeah. How's the movie? The movie is actually more linear, like what I wanted. There's not much going back and forth. I think there's like one flashback which sets up.
I mean,
Vesemir.
I feel like flashbacks are definitely different than having a non-linear timeline.
Yes.
Because a flashback sets up so that you understand the present.
Yeah.
Whereas in season 1, it was very much, you never really knew where you were at.
Yeah.
When you were at. It just...
They drop
You had to kind of guess.
Clues every once in a while. Like, you see the queen, and it's just like, years have passed since the queen lost the war. It's like,
and you're like, okay, we're here now. But in the movie, it very much is a linear timeline. There's a couple flashbacks that show Vesemir as a child, kind of how he becomes a Witcher. Yeah. Because he was not born a Witcher.
Correct.
No one is born a Witcher. You are made into a Witcher.
Yeah, he chose it because a Witcher comes into, like, his manor or something, because he's just like a servant boy.
Yeah.
and like he's sick of that life, and a woman is possessed.
Yes, and he sees almost like the exorcism he assists, and the Witcher like tosses him a coin.
Yeah.
And it's his
like,
moment.
"Take me with you."
It's his moment of like, shit, I can make a ton of money doing this. I don't have to be, because like his whole childhood with his childhood
friend,
girl
Ileana.
crush, is like, we can leave here. We don't have to stay here. We can leave. We can do anything we want to do. We can be anything we want to be. And she's very much complacent. She's like, they take care of us. They feed us. They, they house us. And he wants more. So, and he's constantly saying, I'll take care of you. And when he gets that money from the Witcher, that's his like aha moment of, this is my out.
Yeah, this is my out.
So that's why he chooses to become a Witcher, so that he can get out. I really like in this series, it kind of shows how they become Witchers.
Yeah.
It shows like the process, the trials that they go through, and
you don't want it. You think you want it.
Yeah, it
but
is.
You don't want it.
It is messed up, and it really shows like.
Think of the children. Witches don't do that.
They don't. They also kidnap children.
Yes.
They were like bringing in just like carts of.
What
kids
also really
that were,
shows the moral gray line of the Witcher, and
where
like
it's
why
like,
so many characters hate them, especially like from season 1. Like right off the bat, they're like, "You're a Witcher."
Yeah.
And some people are like, "You're a Witcher."
Yeah, where it's like, if the Witcher comes and they help you, you're very much like, "Oh, you're a Witcher, thank you." Like, whereas everyone else is like, can you go now? Like,
Yeah.
Because it does show that they're kidnapping children to keep the Witcher bloodline alive.
Yup.
But they're also killing all of these children. So I think it started, there were like a lot of them.
Like they are the most extreme version of natural selection.
Yes. But it was like they turned all of these kids into Witchers. They gave them the potion that turns them into a Witcher.
Yep.
Some of them die. It shows like some kids like melting, and it's really messed up.
It's a very Lord Farquaad.
Yeah.
Some of you may die. That is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
This is not a cartoon for children.
No. This is the Castlevania Blood of Zeus category.
There's
like,
a lot of gore, a lot of like
cartoons that like I
really
thrive
yes,
on.
I love these. I want more. But after they turn the kids into Witchers, like the ones that survive, they go through these trials. And it's literally like, these kids are like 7.
Yep.
Like 7 to 12, I would say, in that range. And they like send them out into the field basically. And they're like, whoever comes back, congrats. Like, and you just see these kids just being ripped apart by monsters. And it's like, Vesemir has that moment of like, oh shit, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. And it kind of sets up his hardened persona for when he gets older.
Yeah.
Of like, bitches and money. That's all I want, bitches and money.
Aloof.
And it's
He's
like,
very like emotionally
because
detached.
he made friends with these boys, and all of a sudden they're all dying, and no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares that they're dying. So that's where his personality sets up, and that really shows why the Witchers are shown to be emotionless.
Yeah.
Because they go through such horrifying events to become Witchers that
become detached.
Yes, because in like but like in the first season they talk about that, like Witchers don't have emotions.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, especially Geralt, he's very emotional in the book. He shows that he cares about people, and that's considered odd.
Oh.
So it's odd that he cares about Ciri. It's odd that he cares about Yennefer.
Gotcha.
And people are like, you shouldn't do that because those people will be taken away from you. Also, back to the wolf, Nightmare of the Wolf, it shows Witchers don't age the same.
Exactly. They age so much
yes.
slower.
So we see Vesemir grow up into an adult, and he's, doing what he does, being a Witcher, hunting monsters and things like that.
Yep.
And then kind of towards the end, his childhood friend is very old.
Yeah, she's part of the council. Like, she's a very, like, high rank. And you're just like, this woman takes no shit.
Yeah.
And then, like,
they
meet, it all comes together, and I'm just like, oh.
And he still loves her, and he's still like, I'll take care of you.
He does have emotions still.
Yeah. So it's, I think it was really beautifully done, where it shows the progression of time, and you think that it hasn't been very long, but in reality, it's been 60 years.
Yeah.
And we also have the main antagonist, Tetra, who is kind of the Yennefer of this movie, where she's the witch. You know, she's one of the sorceresses, and her whole goal is to get rid of the Witchers.
Yeah.
Which I think is really, really interesting because they do help. So they do get rid of these monsters, and in the village that they're in, people are going missing.
Yep.
People are dying, and she's blaming the Witchers.
Yeah.
Whereas Liliana, who's on the council, is like, no, it's not the Witchers, we need them.
Yeah.
And they're kind of butting heads. So you
Yes.
have that moment of like, okay, who's right? We know one of them is right,
Yeah.
but we don't know who.
And like the twist is like, I did not expect.
I
her
didn't
to be
expect
right
it either.
To be right.
I didn't either, and I was actually really excited about it.
Yeah, it was a cool twist. I really like the final act of this movie.
Yeah.
I won't spoil, but like shit goes down.
Yeah.
There is like a plethora of monsters, which is like,
And it's-
yay!
There's a big battle, and there's a lot of death and dying, and
That last scene.
yeah.
That was emotional.
It was
Like,
very good.
She cries quite
I
frequently.
do. I cry a lot.
I got choked up.
Yeah, I was like blubbering.
I think even a tear came down my, because it was just like such like.
It was
a
very, very
beautiful
emotional.
Moment.
But what I really enjoy about this specific movie is it does link into the series.
Yeah.
Where like it shows the new Witchers, the little ones, and Vesemir. So like Vesemir is the new kind of like top dog. Shit goes down in a battle, he becomes the new top dog.
Yes.
And all these little kids are kind of like looking up to him.
Yeah.
And they're afraid. They're showing fear.
Yeah.
And Vesemir is basically like, tough nut buckos, like, let's get this done.
Well, he gives them the
And,
choice.
yeah.
It's like, all right, if you want to do this, this
This
is your
is
chance.
now.
That's it.
Yeah. And it's like one of the characters. I don't know why they chose to like draw him the way they did, but one of them is Geralt. And so it kind of like is almost in a way the beginning of Geralt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very nice to see how they incorporated it without it being overly what the Witcher is right now.
Right. Because I don't know how Vesemir is in the books, but in the games, he's an old man.
Yeah, he's old.
in his 50s.
Yeah, he's old in the books
Whereas
as well.
in
He's a
this, he
dirty
was, like,
old
in
man.
his, like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm guessing the show's gonna be that Geralt. No, wait, that Vesemir.
Right.
In
the
50s.
older.
So like this was a
character.
chance to see like his youth.
Yeah,
when
to
he was
see-
Geralt.
To see what makes him him.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read the books or you haven't played the games, you probably don't know who he is.
Yeah.
So I would recommend watching this with an open mind of like, you're going to meet these characters later in the series, but it's kind of how they became who they are.
Yeah, but this is a nice like teaser into
Oh, yeah.
Vesemir, who
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure was just confirmed for season 2. Like he's gonna be in season 2.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for season 2 to see where they go with the story. Like, are they gonna show Ciri in training? Like, because we know she's different. I know more because I've read the books. But like, are they gonna show that? Because there's a lot of like almost slice of life things. And this next part where it's Ciri's growing up, and as little girls grow up, they have significant changes.
Yes.
And they don't leave that out in the books, and it's so awkward, and it's so funny because you have like this entire castle full of these magical men that just don't understand, and they're like, listen, when you need a day where we're not going to hound you, put a dress on so that we know. And it's like, I want to see that in the series.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to see, like, are they going to do that? Are they going to have those awkward slice of life moments? Or,
I wonder.
where are we going to go with it?
Okay. So I'm gonna give this a sleep at the foot of the bed.
I would too. I would definitely, if this ever came out on DVD, I would definitely want one.
Yeah, it's a nice part of the story. It really makes you care about the characters. It's fun. The animation is fluid.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
It's lovely
It
animation.
doesn't talk down to
really,
its audience.
really nice
it's
animation.
just like to the point.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one a lot.
All right, then, puppers. We'll see you guys with season 2 of The Witcher.
Toodles!